week anyway. Purdue's defense all season long, though, has been intransigent, impenetrable. Total defense 6th in the country. Scoring defense 15th, and it's a big part of the function of those seniors. Like Terrell, like Schweigert, the two corners, Kudavides, Johnson, Gardner. Here's Huffman with the punt. All right, Chris, we're here. Survival Saturday brings us to the banks of the Wabash River. A couple of teams trying to avoid attrition, elude elimination. Nico Kudavides has his fan club here, and the Purdue fans and faithful have shown up en masse. A pivotal and critical game for a couple of crews. ESPN College Football celebrates its 20th year. It's Northwestern against Purdue. A couple of teams vying for positioning in the conference. Purdue at 3-1, Northwestern even up at 2-2. Just one undefeated crew in the conference, that being Michigan State. A big one today against Michigan. And Bob Davey, in our game today, we have a couple of teams with different mindsets. Purdue facing self-doubt, Northwestern brimming with confidence.
Well, Mark, the great thing about college football is that every week the circumstances change dramatically. Just a week ago, Purdue was on a 6-game winning streak and ranked in the top 10, but they ran into a hot Michigan team. And they suffered their worst loss in the Joe Tiller era. Purdue is a good football team, and they're still in the Big Ten hunt, but all of a sudden they're faced with a must-win game today. For Northwestern, 2 weeks ago, everyone thought they were headed for another disappointing season. Now they're on a 2-game winning streak and come in here re-energized and confident.
Randy Walker, the head coach of the Northwestern Wildcats, his crew coming in on a 2-game winning streak, having knocked off Wisconsin a week ago. A week before that, defeating Indiana. Northwestern has won the toss and has decided to defer to the second half. Northwestern talked vehemently before this contest about being very strong in the kicking game. Brian Huffman, the lone kicker on the staff for today's game. He will do the punting and the place kicking. Back deep, Gerard Boyd and Jerome Brooks for the Boilermakers. This is going to be Brooks. And Brooks brought down at the 24-yard line, and that's where they're going to start. First down and 10 for the Purdue Boilermakers, coming off a loss last week, Bob, against Michigan. A disheartening loss, but you look at Purdue, what are they? Are they a running team or a passing team offensively?
Mark, Purdue in their first 6 football games ran the ball 60% of the time. In their last 2 games, they threw the ball 60% of the time. Against Wisconsin 2 weeks ago, they spread it out and threw it because they wanted to. Last week against Michigan, they threw it because they had to. For them to be successful, they got to get back to that formula they had early in the season, run the football, and have more balance in their offense, Mark.
They come out in a single back set, which is their custom. This is Gerard Boyd out to the 30-yard line. Gains about 5 on the play. It'll be second down and about 5 to go. Kyle Orton, the starting quarterback, a young man from Altoona, Iowa, who grew up idolizing some of the great old Nebraska quarterbacks. And a look at our Best Buy starting lineups. Backs and receivers, Gerard Boyd, the team's leading rusher. Stanford and Stubblefield, a couple of great receivers, great careers here at Purdue, on the verge of rewriting the conference receiving record book. Second down and about 5 to go. Boyd be about a yard short of the first down, brought down by McGargle. Here's a look at the offensive line now for the Boilermakers. The guy to watch up front, Bob, Kelly Butler.
No question, Mark. He's an NFL-type player, 6'8", but great feet, basketball player in high school, and he'll have a great matchup today against these 2 defensive ends from Northwestern, particularly Lauren Howard, one of the best defensive ends that no one's ever heard of in the Big Ten. They will touch the football in a lot of different ways today.
Here's our first look at the spread. Hasenay completes his first pass out to the 20-yard line. Schweigert made the stop on Heron. Linebackers, Landon Johnson, Nico Kudavides, one of the team's leading tacklers, along with Gardner.
The strength of Purdue's defense, Landon Johnson and Gilbert Gardner, really combination defensive backs, linebacker-type players. Brock Spack, the coordinator, will not go to nickel. He'll leave those linebackers in the football game.
The All-American Stuart Schweigert, the leader of that secondary at the free safety spot.
That win against Wisconsin was no fluke, Mark. They lined up and ran the football for 245 yards against a good physical Wisconsin defense.
Coach Hiller's team looking at a little bit of self-doubt after that Michigan loss. Northwestern running it again. Nice stop in the middle by Kudavides. Terrell Jordan that time carrying the ball for the Wildcats.
I think it's helped them abandon the no-huddle.
Gives the defense a chance to catch a breather once in a while. Patrick with his 43rd consecutive game with a reception after that last catch. Little mix-up in the backfield and a fumble. Purdue says they have it. And that's the game's first turnover. Gilbert Gardner recovering the loose ball for the Boilermakers. And Purdue looking to be very opportunistic here, working with a short field.
Mark, Purdue does something that not a lot of teams do. They flatline their strong safety, Stuart Schweigert, up on the line of scrimmage and tell you the blitz is coming. They don't try to hide it. They don't try to disguise it. One of the things it does, it draws the attention of that quarterback. And you see right there, Bazinet's eyes were looking at Stuart Schweigert, number 9, coming on that blitz.
Yeah, no doubt he was distracted. First down and 10 from the 39. He's now caught a pass in 31 consecutive games. Running it now, bouncing outside is Boyd. Chopped down just inside the 10-yard line is Gerard Boyd. Backus making a stop for Northwestern.
When you introduced the starting lineups, Mark, you talked about Kelly Butler. I want you to watch him right here. He's 6'8", 300 pounds. Watch him rock around and hook the defensive end right here. That's a lot of athleticism right there, particularly when he has that big cast on his wrist right there. But Kelly Butler is a big-time football player. Was a tight end basketball player in high school.
That's correct, Bob. Here?
Right here, Mark. Sean Phillips, and at the side zone is a big part of Northwestern's offense.
They hand it off that time to Wright. Got about 3 on the play. Brought down by Phillips.
And that time, Mark, you see Sean Phillips chase from the backside. Right here, his body being turned like that, there's no way he could come out and play the decide zone part of it. But Sean Phillips, don't be surprised if any second Bazinet pulls that football and comes out and takes advantage of that aggressiveness by Sean Phillips.
Set him up a little bit. One of the top defensive ends in the entire nation. Second down and 7. It's an option. Phillips made Bazinet pay. And let's go back to the second part of Football 101.
In the running game, a little different situation now in the passing game, though.
Going with an empty formation on 3rd down and 9. Coming with a blitz. Bazinet sacked back at the 12-yard line. Purdue lit him up. And a fumble. They're saying Purdue ball at the 11. Ray Edwards recovering the loose ball.
Brock's back, comes with the blitz, bringing Landon Johnson. You see Sean Phillips from the backside, and also Brent Grover up the middle. Ray Williams, the true freshman defensive end, I believe, came up with that fumble recovery.
And it's Purdue again working with a short field, playing an all-around game. First down and 10. Handoff inside to Terrell Jordan. Got about a yard. Folks, some big games today on a whole new picture to the BCS standings. 3rd down and 8. Bazinet sacked back at the 15-yard line. They got to him again, Craig Terrell.
Craig Terrell is playing outstanding football in his senior year. Right here, you're going to see him just beat the offensive guard. Also, they tried to help with Jason Wright, the tailback, but Craig Terrell right there.
Hey, Reese, Bob and I are going to keep an eye out for clips on those replays, so you guys be watching this week now. First down and 10. This is Heron, brought down at the 34. Let's take one more look at that penalty as they ran into the punter.
Yeah, Mark, Kyle Smith from that.
This guy could be president someday, Bob. 3rd down and 10. Bazinet under heat, steps up, going to take off. Making a play right near the first down marker. They're going to whistle it dead at the 45-yard line. It depends on the spot. He is very close to a first down.
We see Sean Phillips just getting up the field again on Zach Streif, just with speed, beats him around the outside, but Bazinet takes off running. The question is, Mark, did he fumble this football here before he was down? I think he was down.
Yeah, he was down.
I think the ground definitely caused that. And we're measuring right here to see if it was a first down. But a mobile quarterback against a ferocious pass rush team like Purdue is a weapon, Mark.
How tough is it to prepare? You see that he looks like he got it. Like I can tell from up here. By that much. We are back in sunny West Lafayette, Indiana. Area code 765. And the number 17th ranked Purdue Boilermakers leading 14-0. We are starting action here in the second quarter. Northwestern with the ball, second down and 6 to go. And it's Wright back in the ball game. Running authoritatively, and he fumbles it. Purdue got the ball. Northwestern puts it on the ground for the third time today. And Villarreal recovers the loose ball on the right fumble.
And it's unbelievable because Jason Wright, 379 straight carries without a fumble. Nico Cordavitas right there just stripped the football out of there. And Villarreal, number 55, came up with the recovery. But Jason
Bouchon with the catch. Here's a look at our Gateway game track. Purdue has scored 14 points off of 2 Northwestern turnovers. And that could be 21 in a moment, the way this game is going. Orton and Williams, respectively, with their first career rushing touchdowns. Orton on a little bootleg and Williams on a reverse.
Wiley, coach from Air Force, said to me before the game, "How you doing?" Just heaped all kind of praise on us about not fumbling. We fumbled the ball 3 times that game.
And this time, Noah Herron able to hang on to it. And for more on turnovers, let's go to Holly.
Well, guys, I know that you're probably sick of hearing about this because we've done Purdue a few times this year, but Brett Spack coaches what's called a ball disruption. I'm a huge fan of ball disruption. He's been doing it for years. He shows a 5-minute video of all of Northwestern's problems with the ball throughout the season. We had a chance to watch that video yesterday, and it just kind of gets you geeked up. It makes you feel like they're vulnerable in certain areas, and if that's what his defense is watching, they're going to prey on that. It seems like they have so far today.
4-4. Big games today in the Big Ten. Bazinet under heat and sacked. Back at the 34-yard line, number 16, Gilbert Gardner, making a play for the Boilermakers.
Again, Brock Spack brings Stuart Schweigert off the outside, but also the linebacker, Gilbert Gardner. So he once again comes with a blitz. The worst timing to have a play-action pass called, Mark, is against the blitz because you just can't protect it. And Brock Spack loves Gilbert Gardner. Says he is a coach's dream.
Northwestern's drives, 3 of them ending in fumbles. The other in a punt. The last 4 times they've had the ball, not too productive. 2 of those fumbles led to scores for Purdue.
2 problems, not a against Purdue.
3rd and 6, Bazinet under heat, backside pressure. Completes the pass to Wright. Jason Wright has the first down at midfield at Purdue's side of the 50-yard line, the 49. Schweigert ran him down, but a 27-yard gain and a conversion.
And Mark, we're going to get 15 more yards tacked on with a roughing the quarterback penalty right here on Bazinet. But you see Jason Wright, who was a wide receiver, converted to running back, stays in, he protects, and really just creates a play. That was not a design play. Bazinet gets him the football.
What with the shoulder to the helmet? 15 yards, half-time.
And we're going to get a chance to also see the roughing the passer penalty, 15-yard penalty right here at the end. Backside, Craig Terrell and Nico Cordavitas. No doubt about it, Mark. That was a 15-yard penalty, not a very smart thing. And you see Joe Tiller takes Nico Cordavitas out of the football game right now for that penalty.
Nico, one of the leaders of that defense, a young man that's not afraid to talk a little bit of junk from time to time. That time not using very good discretion on the late hit.
Replay it seems, Joe.
This is the freshman Jordan. And Jordan is brought down at the 46-yard line.
It's certainly a very different animal Purdue is facing this week as opposed to the Michigan defense that stifled them a week ago. And really, the Boilermakers bounced back nicely.
Yeah, we have. I mean, you said a couple days ago we were going to talk about these big games and coaches making moves in big games. How about 45 seconds left? Why is Joe Tiller a good coach? Gets down there, gets 3 more points for his team.
And the way that he rallied his troops coming back in this football game, but not just that, the way that they're playing at the point of attack, they're being physical up front, offense, defense, special teams. They're in control of this football game.
And right
beginning here on the first 2 plays, it'll be 3rd and long.
Mark, just to clean one thing up on that quarterback decide, not to turn this into a clinic, but Purdue does something where they let Sean Phillips turn and chase the zone going away and really baits Northwestern into pulling that football and give the assignment of the quarterback to the linebacker. So cat and mouse game going on right now on defense, but right now 3rd and long, and you better block number 15 right here, Sean Phillips.
Asane under heat, and he's sacked back at the 13-yard line, the 4th sack of the afternoon for that Boilermaker defense, number 92, Terrell.
Craig Terrell having a tremendous senior season, his 2nd sack of the day. Right here, Mark, that is no contest on the guard, Matt Ulrich, I believe, number 64. Craig Terrell in the backfield, 2nd sack of the day.
For Northwestern's defense, and Purdue last week gave up 7 sacks against Michigan, 7 the week before that. Orton back to pass, wide open, Standiford, and he got a good block. It's 1st and goal, Purdue.
Well, we've got to give him credit for 2 catches on that one, Mark. He caught that football twice, but that time it all started with the protection, and Kyle Orton sings it right down the seam.
3 catches, Bob.
And he looked back to see where the defender was coming from. That is great confidence and great concentration by a guy that's caught a bunch of balls here at Purdue.
Needs just 12 yards now to set a Big Ten receiving yardage record. Right now held by David Williams of Illinois. I think anyway. Purdue's defense all season long, though, has been intransigent, impenetrable. Total defense 6th in the country. Scoring defense 15th, and it's a big part of the function of those seniors. Like Terrell, like Schweigert, the 2 corners, Kudavides, Johnson, Gardner. Here's Huffman with the punt.
Does struggle at times with bump and run man-to-man. Michigan locked him down last week in man-to-man coverage, really took him out of the game.
There's Boyd on the toss, fighting for 1st down yardage, and it appears as if he's got it. Going to be marked at about the 46-yard line. Gerard Boyd, a sophomore from Clinton, Maryland.
And again, Goldsberry, the big fullback in the game, gets a great block right there. And there's 34, Ione coming up from his safety position. But interesting, Goldsberry, Mark, 44, the fullback. He is the backup tailback. Brock Spock told us yesterday if Purdue was a 2-back team, that Goldsberry would be the best fullback in the Big Ten.
Purdue's upcoming schedule. They've won 6 in a row, sandwiched in between 2 losses.
And we talk about bounce back, a whole different scenario bouncing back this week than it was after the Bowling Green game, Mark. They got upset in that first game, played Saturday. Obviously, Joe Tiller brought him back on Sunday and scrimmaged his football team. After the Michigan game, it was a whole different atmosphere around here.
Asane hands it off. That's Wright. Wright is stopped up right near the line of scrimmage. Purdue's defense really bringing it right now. Johnson, Kudavides, Gardner, the entire troika of linebackers. It's going to be 3rd down and long for Northwestern.
Sean Phillips here on the Purdue defense.
They got a great tradition of pass rusher. 2nd and 9, almost picked off by Kudavides. The East Coast Connecticut Mac Daddy had 6 points and a Big 6 ticket waiting for him at the other end of the field.
Mark, and that is a touchdown if he catches the football. If we go ahead and roll it, you're going to see Kudavides right here. Mark, there is nothing but green grass. The only guy that would have a chance was Bazinet. Wow.
They'll be talking a little bit of stuff to him.
You know, his mom and dad own a
Great receivers in that game. Sean Phillips pumping up the crowd here at Ross-Ade Stadium. Interesting that Joe Tiller was a little bit down on the fans here, said that he couldn't believe we weren't going to get close to a sellout. Although they do have a pretty healthy crowd here today.
And you have to anticipate some kind of option with Bazinet having the opportunity to run the football, Mark.
4th and 1, Heron. Oh, it's going to be close. Not sure that he got there. The two tackles in the middle, Grover and Terrell, remaining stout. I don't think he got it.
Little surprised at the call right there. But once again, Mark, you mentioned earlier, tough to run east and west against Purdue. They tried to run the football a little more north and south off a counter action.
Gonna bring in the chains and measure on this one.
And Mark, think how much, not necessarily right here 20-7-7 in this game, but how much rides on these measurements. And let's face it, it's not an exact science now. When you get it down to an inch or two, I mean, there's a lot of variables in this, a lot of human error possibilities. But that one's obvious he didn't make it.
That wasn't even close. Not even close. Missed it by about 2 feet. Much to the dismay of Randy Walker. He saw an opportunity fall by the bull, hopefully getting a share of the Big Ten Conference title on the way out. 1st down and 10. Purdue looking for maybe Michigan State to lose today to Michigan. So everyone will be at one loss, and wide open is Standiford again. Purdue 1st down at the 12-yard line. Hines making the stop for the Wildcats. And that's good for the record.
Great design of this play on the crossing route by John Standiford. And this one, Mark, I believe is for the record.
Certainly is, Bob.
He now becomes the Big Ten all-time career receiving yards leader on that catch. And you think they might stop it right here like they do in the NFL and give them the football and do the whole deal, but we just play on.
For more on Standiford, let's go down to Holly.
Hey guys, John Standiford, they didn't stop the game and give him the game ball, but the crowd did give him a huge ovation as they announced that he broke the record here in the stadium. And then the coaches did something nice. They substituted so he was able to run to the sideline, and he was swarmed by his teammates. So not a huge deal, but a little bit of a deal here at Purdue for John Standiford becoming the all-time leading receiver in the Big Ten.
It's interesting, Bob, a couple of weeks ago while we were on the sidelines. 1st down, and you asked him, how fast are you? What did he say, about a 4.6?
Yeah,
something like that?
I think he did say
it's
4.6.
Receiving speed.
But you know, the Purdue coaches say he's even faster than that.
Yeah.
The key with him this year has been to stay healthy.
He's 14-0. It's been uphill ever since. And now a sack by Sean Phillips from the backside. The Purdue defense putting an indelible stamp on this game. 3 and out for Northwestern.
Wow.
And
Mark, Sean Phillips, the matchup right here on Trey Essex. No chance right there. He comes in, strips that football out of there, just gets a great jump on the ball. Comes from the backside. The football clearly comes out. Gilbert Gardner, number 16, comes up with the recovery. But Sean Phillips, tremendous career, came into this game with 28 career sacks, 9 for the season coming in today. What a great job Mark Joe Tiller has done here at Purdue. 6 straight bowl games. He's done an excellent job recruiting. And you notice on his 2 deep, out of 44 players in the 2 deep, 13 of those players come from the state of Texas. So he's gone out and really made Texas really a key recruiting area for him. A lot of good players. It all started with Drew Brees, though, coming from Texas.
Purdue leads Northwestern 34-7 in the 4th quarter. And joining us now is Arnett Tiller, Joe Tiller's wife. And Arnett, you had a good explanation for why Joe wouldn't go for the field goal there. What was it?
Well, actually, Joe feels like if you have a game in hand, You can kick a field goal and run the score up, or you can go for the touchdown and give them the chance to stop you so that they can not feel like you're running that score up on them.
So it still leaves their destiny in the defense's hands. That's a good point.
Gives them a chance.
Well, tell us a little bit about how you came up with the famous statement now in Purdue tradition, boiler up. That was your idea.
Actually, it was. I got really lucky with that. Coming from Wyoming, where everything is cowboy up, I knew we needed some kind of a cheer, and that worked. But we actually found out that it is a railroad term that they use when the steam is up in the boiler.
Gets the engine going, and so it's perfect.
Interesting scenario if Michigan State loses to Michigan. Inside handoff run, that's going to be Jordan again, brought down at the 18-yard line. So for our sprint storyline. And Northwestern with 4 fumbles lost today, and Purdue converting a couple of touchdowns off of it. And Purdue has really turned the beat around today, especially inside the red zone. 4 touchdowns, 2 field goals, 6 of 7 overall. And Standiford setting a Big Ten career receiving yards record. Over 3,400 yards, passing the mark set in the mid-80s by David Williams of Illinois. Bob, you feel like they had high expectations for Purdue, even though they lost last week against Michigan, and those expectations, fortunately for the Boilermaker crew, have been met. Second down and 3, Webb keeps it himself. And this will be a negative play at the 43, and there's a flag down in the play.
Penalty markers on the play.
With 3:27 to go. This Purdue defense has swarmed Northwestern all afternoon. One of the top defensive units in the entire country against the run and overall. And the leader of that defense, no doubt today, is our Olympus player of the game, Sean Phillips, with 6 tackles and a couple of forced fumbles and a sack.
And Mark forced another fumble just by his presence one time when Bazinet really fumbled the snap.
Hey, Bob, let me ask you about this as we look at Sean Phillips. You've been on the recruiting trails, recruiting players over the last 5 to 7 years. Is that defensive end rush spot becoming what you would call a glamour position now in terms of players wanting to play that spot?
Well, let's put it this way. When you go on to the end right here, Mark.
First and goal, Horn in motion is the 10th play of the drive. Handoff is to Jenkins, who's brought down shy of the 5-yard line with 1:53 to go. Northwestern coming in at 4-4 overall. They'll drop to 4-5, but a couple of games remaining that could put them in a bowl-eligible position. And should the Big Ten get 2 BCS bowl teams in, they would become one of the at-large teams available to play in a bowl game.
Mark, a little bit surprised right here. Stuart Schweigert, Antoine Rogers, still in this football game here late. Those guys are integral parts of this defense.